I want to thank you both for joining us today. The big day has finally come and gone. Tell us a little bit about that hearing and what you really got out of it.
Go ahead.
Yep. Well, Congresswoman Vicky Hartzler put it together. I was so impressed with the amount of Congress members that attended the meeting. We had about 50 Congress members and aides there. We were able to bring the voice of America. Like you said, within a week we're up to 24,000 signatures now signed the petition to bring faith-based solutions to both the DOD and VA for our veteran suicide epidemic and those dealing with PTSD. In the last 15 years, the VA and DOD has stood up 1,200 clinical programs, billions of dollars spent, and the problem has, in the last 15 years, has gotten worse. It went from 16 suicides a day to 20 suicides a day. The active duty suicide rate's at an all-time high. Last year, the Marine Corps listed an all-time high suicide record of active duty. Special Operations Command, for example, has 4 times the amount of active duty suicides from the previous year. And just last month, the United States Air Force released an article that said the #1 cause of death for a U.S. airman is suicide. And so we're seeing so many of our warriors coming to Mighty Oaks Foundation for help. They've been, about 80% of them have been through clinical programs that have failed them. And so we came to the Capitol and spoke to Congress and was able to show some data and evidence of faith-based program successes, like the program we have at Mighty Oaks Foundation.
So I want you to tell our viewers once again a little bit about what it is that your organization does and what makes it different from other programs that kind of focus on this issue.
Go ahead. Yeah, well, we run a program. We run a peer-to-peer mentorship program. So clinical programs would deal with medicating symptoms of PTSD, counseling through clinicians, and sometimes those things are very, very necessary. So we don't suggest that we eliminate those things. But a veteran should have an option. And active duty military members and veterans should have an option to go to traditional clinical methods or have faith-based alternatives. And so the programs we do is we do resiliency programs. We'll go to bases and speak to active duty troops. And then we have a recovery program where we run it's called a legacy program. And it's a week-long intensive peer-to-peer mentorship program that's faith-based. And we do those at our 4 ranches in California, Virginia, Ohio, and Texas. And we've had 3,090 graduates, and they have tremendous success rates. We're going to do this work regardless. We're going to do this work. We're going to continue to do what we feel called to do and serve our warriors with or without them. But we want to do it with them, and that's why we went before Congress yesterday. And I'll tell you, I walked away very optimistic that we're going to get some support.
What is the type of hurdle that you face in form of the government kind of once again getting involved in this program or assisting your program and the things that you're kind of fighting for? What are the hurdles that lay in the way, and also what can they provide to your organization?
We took the VA's own data. They have a report that came out in June of 2015. They updated it in June of 2018. It shows 11 years of data, 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 11 years of data. Wow. And it states that these individuals that are being treated, they're being treated for substance abuse disorder, severe depression, and PTSD. Those that get treated by the VA, those that don't get treated by the VA. Those that get treated by the VA with psychotropic meds have a 50% higher suicide rate than those that don't get treated. Yeah. That is what has been so concerning for lawmakers as well as family members that are seeing their loved ones that prolonged help from the VAs. We're not helping them. We're hurting them. And we've tried to study it in the state of Texas. Big Pharma has stood in the way. We've not been able to get bills out of committee. We get a hearing, and we get all sorts of excitement from committee members. Sure. But at the end of the day, Big Pharma stops it.
Yeah, and
we see guys coming to Mighty Oaks Foundation with on upwards of 20+ medications per day for the simple diagnosis of PTSD. And these programs, these clinical programs, again, there is a need for them, but no one needs to be on 20 pills a day to get well. In fact, it's harmful to them to be there because they're not going to be in a mental state to move forward. And question of why would organizations like Mighty Oaks need to exist with the VA? And the truth is, while they're great people in the VA, and we met yesterday with Director Conrad Washington, Director of VA Faith Programs, and just some good people there that are very well intended and mean well, and they need our help too. And I think the reason that they're failing is because they're healing the mind and they're healing the body, and those things are necessary. But combat trauma is a soul wound, and the only way to heal a soul wound is through a spiritual solution. And they're aiming at the wrong target, and they're missing.